The $100,000 salary illusion. Why 6 figures won't set you free. Since the 1990s, one number has dominated our financial dreams like a sacred promise. That number is $100,000 a year, the supposed gateway to the American dream. We're raised believing this is the ultimate goal. Once you hit 6 figures, we're told, all your struggles vanish and prosperity arrives. So you hustle through college, rack up debt, and sacrifice your 20s. You grind late nights and skip weekends climbing the corporate ladder. Then finally, in December 2025, you get that promotion. Your salary hits $100,000 and you celebrate like you've won the lottery. But 6 months later, reality slaps you hard. You check your bank account and feel more financially stressed than when you earned $60,000. You've got more debt, less free time, and skyrocketing anxiety. Your savings are actually shrinking instead of growing. You're not losing your mind. You've become a victim of the middle-class financial trap. The government, banks, and inflation have formed a perfect storm. They've designed a system that confiscates every extra dollar before you can enjoy it. I'm Bobby, and I expose the financial myths we use to comfort ourselves. If you're a high earner secretly living paycheck to paycheck, this video will open your eyes. Today, we're dissecting the 6-figure deception with brutal honesty. We'll examine tax brackets, benefit cliffs, and lifestyle inflation that prove earning more often means having less. The inflation reality nobody mentions. Here's the core problem. Our brains are stuck in 1995. Back then, $100,000 genuinely meant wealth. Country clubs, private schools, luxury living. But inflation has been silently destroying purchasing power for decades. That $100,000 from 1995 equals roughly $215,000 in today's money. If you're making $100,000 now, you're not rich at all. You're actually earning the equivalent of about $48,000 in 1990s dollars. Your salary sounds impressive on paper, but delivers working-class buying power. The title says executive, but the math screams survival mode. The tragedy is, we still live like 1995 executives. We try maintaining lifestyles our currency can no longer support. We're living a mass delusion funded by credit cards. We're acting out a financial script that expired 20 years ago. The middle-class tax nightmare inflation is just the surface problem. The real theft happens in the tax code's middle-class death trap. When you're poor, the government supports you generously. You get subsidies, tax credits, grants, and healthcare assistance. When you're wealthy, the government helps you too. You exploit capital gains rates, real estate loopholes, and sophisticated tax avoidance strategies. But the middle class? You're the designated cash cow. You're the only group paying full retail price for existence. You earn too much to qualify for help. You don't earn enough to manipulate the system. You're trapped in the middle, funding everyone else's benefits. This is the raise trap nobody warns you about. Say you jump from $75,000 to $100,000, a $25,000 raise. In your head, that's $2,000 extra monthly. But that's fantasy math, not reality. First, progressive tax brackets devour a bigger percentage of that new income. Then you lose student loan interest deductions. The government decides you're suddenly too wealthy to deduct your loan interest. Your student loan effectively became more expensive the moment you succeeded. You're literally penalized for earning more. Next comes the childcare cliff that destroys young families. Subsidies and pre-K credits vanish as your income rises. That extra $10,000 in income can eliminate $15,000 in childcare subsidies. You earned $10,000 more, taxes took $3,000, and expenses jumped $15,000. You're mathematically $8,000 poorer because you worked harder. The system is designed to keep you running on a treadmill that speeds up as you run faster. The social pressure trap. Now add the psychological warfare of being a Henry. That's high earner, not rich yet. A dangerous mental trap. Hit 6 figures, and society demands you look the part. That reliable 2012 Honda Civic suddenly seems embarrassing. You're a director now with clients and an image to maintain. You need the Tesla or BMW to match your status. You can't keep living in that starter apartment anymore. You need the single-family home in the premium school district. This is lifestyle creep, but I call it the conformity tax. The entire global marketing machine targets middle-class insecurity. Companies know poor people have nothing to extract. They know rich people are too savvy to impress. But middle-class earners? You're insecure and desperate to prove you've made it. You're terrified of appearing like a failure. So you buy the house that maxes out your debt-to-income ratio. You leverage yourself to the absolute breaking point. The house poor disaster. Let's compare 2 people to see this trap clearly. The person earning $60,000 knows they're broke. No illusions whatsoever. They rent modestly for $1,500, drive used, and cook at home. With low overhead, they might save $500 monthly. Now examine the person making $120,000. They qualify for a huge mortgage and buy a $600,000 house. Their mortgage, taxes, and insurance hit $4,500 monthly. But the phantom costs destroy them financially. Lawn care, HOA fees, constant repairs, and furniture for empty rooms. Then they lease 2 cars for $1,200 because they need reliable transportation. Kids go into expensive activities, travel, soccer, piano lessons, because that's what successful parents do. After higher taxes and status maintenance, they have 0 left. Worse, they're running a monthly deficit using credit cards for groceries. Higher revenue but terrible profit margins. They're a bloated corporation heading for bankruptcy. Meanwhile, the $60,000 earner runs a lean, profitable operation. The time tax. Nobody calculates. There's another hidden cost destroying the middle class. Earning $100,000 in 2025 requires soul-crushing availability. It's not 9 to 5 anymore. It's always on email culture. Slack messages at 8 p.m., unpaid overtime, and stress that ruins your sleep. Someone making $40,000 in shift work clocks out completely. When you earn $100,000 in the knowledge economy, you never disconnect. Your brain is permanently rented to your employer. And when you're stressed and time-starved, you spend money solving problems. You create a convenience addiction around your existence. DoorDash becomes routine at $60 per meal instead of $10 homemade. You hire cleaners, subscribe to endless streaming services, and buy convenience everywhere. You're spending a fortune just coping with earning that fortune. You're stuck in a vicious cycle. You earn money to pay for the therapy and takeout you need because of how you earn it. This creates the golden handcuffs phenomenon. You might hate your job and dream of quitting. Maybe you want to start a business or take meaningful work. But you're trapped. You've built a $100,000 lifestyle infrastructure. The mortgage, car leases, and private school tuition demand continuous income. You've leveraged yourself completely on the assumption it continues forever. You have zero flexibility or options. The person earning $60,000 with low expenses can quit tomorrow and survive. The person making $120,000 with high expenses is imprisoned. They must tolerate toxic bosses and terrible conditions. They're owned by their own lifestyle choices. This explains those Instagram-perfect 30-somethings with secret depression, Tulum vacations, new SUVs, on designer wardrobes, but drowning in debt privately. They fell for the income trap. They confused income with actual wealth. But income is not wealth. This is critical to understand. Income is just running speed. Wealth is the distance you actually cover. Running 100 miles per hour on a treadmill creates zero wealth. You just generate sweat with high cash flow, but zero net worth. The retirement crisis. The middle class faces a looming retirement disaster. High earners are terrible at saving. Here's why. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill available time. Financially, it means expenses expand to match income. Every raise gets instantly absorbed into lifestyle upgrades. Faster internet, Whole Foods instead of Target, Equinox instead of basic gyms. The surplus vanishes immediately into elevated consumption. Since someone making $150,000 often saves the same amount as someone making $50,000, nothing. But the $150,000 earner has a bigger problem. They've developed expensive tastes requiring millions to maintain in retirement. The modest earner needs far less to retire comfortably. The high earner dug a hole so deep they can never stop working. How to escape the trap? Breaking free requires a radical psychological shift. You must divorce your ego from your income completely. You must refuse to act your wage. The system extracts your capital through status signaling. Opt out completely. If you make $100,000, live like you make $50,000. I know that sounds extreme and unpleasant, but that $50,000 gap is your freedom fund. That's your escape money buying you out of the prison. The system wants you to upgrade constantly. Banks want you upgrading so they can charge interest. Neighbors want you upgrading so they feel better about their mistakes. The rebellious act is staying put. Keep the small apartment and drive that 2015 Toyota forever. Skip the annual phone upgrade ritual. When you get a raise, hide it from yourself. Pretend it never happened. Practice stealth wealth. Auto-divert new money into investments before touching your checking account. If you see it, you'll spend it. If it automatically vanishes into index funds, you build wealth invisibly. You must artificially create scarcity for yourself. Make yourself feel broke so you don't waste money. This psychological trick protects you from your own impulses. Redefining success. We need to completely redefine middle class. It shouldn't mean maximum consumption or keeping up with broke neighbors. It should mean maximum optionality and freedom. The real flex in 2025 isn't the luxury car in your driveway. It's surviving 2 years unemployed without panic. It's telling toxic bosses no because you don't need the paycheck. It's having the freedom to take risks. Don't let $100,000 fool you. It's the new baseline for financial struggle. Stop chasing salary titles and chase net profit instead. What matters isn't money flowing through your hands. What matters is what actually sticks and accumulates. You're not a conduit for bank profits. You're the CEO of your own life. Run it like a profitable business, not a charity for luxury brands. If this opened your eyes to the financial treadmill you've been running on, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Share this with anyone chasing their next promotion, thinking it'll solve everything. You might just save them from the trap.